so much for joining me. My name is Kay Thompson, and I am your host for today's episode of All Things Real Estate. And we have that I did earlier this season where I talked to you about a special meeting that I had about how XAI was utilizing the water to operate and power its Colossus data center, which is it's called Colossus One, and it is a data center that is located in the Boxtown area of Memphis. And so just to kind of recap that meeting that I had with the mayor, it was a very cordial meeting. He appeared to be very open and receptive to the things that I had to say. I did find it regarding one of the things that that was going to be located off of Tulane Road. I think the address was 4917 Tulane Road. And he explained to me that he had no idea at the time that Elon Musk and XAI had acquired this land, and that he was under the impression that they were going to build a power center in Horn Lake, Mississippi, to take the XAI Grok, which is its name, off of our electricity grid and off of our power grid, and how the mayor had informed me himself that they had actually put a hole in one of our aquifers. There had been a deal made or struck between TVA and XAI for them to purchase our gray water, which is the wastewater that we actually deposit off from, wherever, and that they were going to be cleaning that water to reuse it. And that meeting essentially ended with the mayor saying to me, hey, why don't you go ahead and get a community meeting together, get some people. And so I had agreed to work on that. And then the next day, after I had that meeting, which, by the way, I believe was April 1st, I heard that Elon Musk and XAI had decided they were not going to complete the construction of the water reuse facility that the mayor had talked to me about. That was also confirmed by our state representative. Very, very active in the fight to stop these data centers from coming. And so I found that to be interesting, that the mayor, that he would say those things to me, and then I find out the very next day that there is a different plan in place. I find it very interesting that he didn't know anything about it. And so in the process of that and my digging, I came across another organization called Color of Change. And Color of Change was one of the leaders of a community event that was put together, Young, Gifted, and Green, which is a nonprofit of young people, teenagers, who are working to fight environmental justice in our country and abroad. And they put together this meeting for the community to come out to, and they had a panel of people all from different organizations, as I previously mentioned, who were talking about their role in this fight and what the results were of that. And they shared information with us for how we could get more involved. And so they provided us with some information, and I'm taking this information. I'm going to share some key points from you for it. If you want more information about the Color of Change and some of the things that they're working on, you can visit their website at colorofchange.org. They are also working on a digital redlining project. And basically, they are talking about how the electric companies are forcing Black communities to bankroll this AI boom, and how they're discussing how the utility companies are passing on these costs for this stuff to everyday consumers, seeking more than $29 billion in rate increases last year alone, double what they asked for the year before. They are also denying certain services as it relates to printing for certain communities, not just African American or Black communities, but economically challenged communities and communities in rural areas as well. They are looking to put on farmland, like I said, in rural areas and low or areas where they feel the economic status is low or non-existent. And so that affects all of us. Them putting holes in our aquifers affects all of us. It affects everybody here in the Mid-South. We depend on those aquifers to give us, good drinking water. We depend on it to cook with and to do lots of other things. And so for them to just be siphoning the water off and actually siphoning it off or allowing a company to siphon it off at a rate that's almost half of this diabolical. And so here are some of the things, facts about what is going on with this Memphis Aquifer. And you can get this data from Young. They are saying the key facts are that we were told that XAI was going to use 700,000 gallons of water per day, which was going to be drawn from the Memphis Sand Aquifer by Colossus 1. And this was based on the winter average, which was the lowest cooling demand season. They were supposed to spend $100 million plus and invest in the water reuse facility before construction was paused with no public explanation. XAI pays 19 cents per 100 gallons of water. Memphis residents pay 32 cents per 100 gallons of water. And MLGW's rate structure charges industry less for the more water they use. So if he uses more, then the price goes down. And then, like I said before, 13 community organizations formally requested a public hearing for Mayor Young, and he denied their request on April 3rd. In our contract with XAI, Memphis has a legal commitment in there, and they have, as a part of the land sale agreement, that a reversion clause. And this is a legal mechanism that the city can use to get us out of this contractual obligation with XAI if they do not perform the duties or get rid of the contingencies, I should say, that they had as a part of their land sale contract. One of them was building this reuse facility, water reuse facility, which they have paused any effort on with no explanation. And when we finally did get an explanation, Elon Musk said that he halted it because he had to make sure that he could get Colossus 2 up and running first. And so the deal was announced in 2024, 2025, while our city mayor was president, or not president, but while the current mayor was the sitting mayor. And I understand that he made the decision to allow this to move forward with members of the Memphis City Chamber as well as MLGNW. They were allowed to make this decision and excommunicate certain agencies such as the Health Department and the EPA, because Elon Musk initially used the Electrolux building, which we know we got stiffed on that deal. And because he didn't make any structural changes to the building, they did not need code enforcement to come in and to, say, hey, this is, within code, this is not, and so forth and so on. And so they were able to move along without including any of those people, which I think is a big problem. And then February, March 2026, Memphis Light, Gas, and Water confirmed that Colossus 1 used 840,520 gallons per day from the aquifer during the winter, which again was the lowest cooling season for us. And then on April 8th, 2026, a whistleblower revealed that construction had paused indefinitely, at which point Elon Musk said that they had to finish building on Colossus 2 first. And then there is a list of unanswered questions here that Young, Gifted, and Green is hoping that they can get some answers for. And then they also included the next City Council and MLG&W board meetings in this information. You do not have to register to go to the City Council meetings or the MLG board meetings. You can sign up on site or submit written comments by 12 p.m. of the day of. You get 3 minutes per person in order to speak your piece. For MLG&W, you can submit comment cards to security by 8:30 a.m. You include your name and street address. Then they have a live stream for this. So it's mlgw.com/live stream, where you can live stream the meeting. If you are looking to speak to your local city council representative for your area, I have the contact information for each one of them. So if you want to get that information from me, you can reach out to me and I will provide that to you via email. You can give me a phone call or a text, send me an email using the information that appears broadcast so that I can get that information out to you. You can also request public records from the city of Memphis. There's a way to do that. You can request utility and water records from MLG&W. There is a way to do that. And so if you're looking for that kind of information, I am more than happy to provide that. I have phone scripts, tips for stronger comments, email templates that you can use to ensure that your comment is recognized and is heard by not only the people on the council and on the board of MLG&W, but also constituents and citizens of the city can hear those as well. In addition to that, we have the Color of Change. They are also a part of the charge to, like I said, fight the digital redlining that is existing in our community. And they are also helping to spearhead the challenge to MLG&W regarding our exorbitant. And so all of these are things that you can get great information on. You can connect with people at these organizations to see what you can do to be boots on the ground, how you can help to further the cause and make sure that our drinking water is safe. Make sure that people in our community understand the importance of this, and then hopefully protest and support to block all of these data centers from. We have lots of examples. A magazine that I like to read called Liberty, Law, and Justice. They have all sorts of articles where the people with that organization have been fighting to keep these data centers from. There's people fighting over noise pollution and all these other things that the data centers bring. And so there are all sorts of avenues that you can use to access information and also to join the fight. One of the things that I have to say here that I think is very important for people to understand is that in a lot of areas, I know for sure here in Shelby County, the government is able to take over neighborhoods by way of eminent domain if 51% or more of the neighborhood is rented. In their eyes, they feel like those people who are renting do not have a true vested interest in those properties. And so they feel like they can just claim eminent domain, take them over and do whatever they want. That's why it's so important for us in the Black community to start looking to own our neighborhoods. We, I think, in a lot of ways have become victims of the white flight situation because historically white people move away from black if they feel like it's getting to be too diverse. A lot of them will move, and not necessarily because they feel a certain type of way, but it's, they've been trained that we bring down property values and things of that nature, and so they move, and then those neighborhoods and communities become divested in by companies, by the government or what have you, because they feel like there's less value in those areas. But I'm here to point out that Black Americans have a really long arm when it comes to buying power, and we should be using our economic strength in order to make people treat us correctly in the civil realm. And so, instead of running to these newly designed, overpriced neighborhoods, we should be really, really working our dollars in our communities and to build those communities up. Even if you don't live in the in a community that's predominantly Black, you still want to buy in that community, even if you're buying as an investment, things of that nature, because if they see that we have a vested interest in our communities and that we will fight for them, eventually they will leave us alone. But we can't expect a small number of people to do that for us. A small number of people can't save the masses. It's going to take a lot of us. So we have a lot of work to do in our communities in terms of that. This ideology that, moving to the newer place is better, because that's not always the truth. And, a lot of times we think, well, this neighborhood is so run down, or it's good housing in it that's, updated and renovated for my taste. And, a lot of times real estate professionals will just accept what you're saying and they'll move you on to a different neighborhood, which is what they're supposed to. I do, though, try to speak to my clients about the history of real estate and, about how important it is to own in our own communities. And I try to show them, especially those people who have economic challenges. They don't have a lot to spend. They're not, qualified for a big amount, but they still, want to have something that they can call their own. And so there are loan programs that will allow for that. There's not a whole lot of them, but there are some. And most of the time when you're getting financial literacy or some homebuyer education information, these loans do not come up, because typically they are loans that investors know about and investors use, but traditional home buyers. And so I'm going to take the last few minutes, kind of go over that with you guys and explain it to you, so that you can understand, exactly what's out there and what's available. So the first type of home renovation loan is one that you guys have heard me talk about previously in the last show that I was hosting. And it is the FHA 203K loan. An FHA 203K loan is a government-backed mortgage that allows buyers or current homeowners to finance the purchase or refinance a property and its renovation costs into one single loan. So it's ideal for buying fixer-uppers that would otherwise fail to qualify for standard mortgages. So the way it works is you find a property, you have to buy that property and be able to budget the repairs for that property all for one price. You do have to use FHA qualified to do the renovations and things of that nature. And not every lender is going to offer all of these loan products. So if you are someone who needs that kind of help to locate a lender who can get you one of these products, please, please, please use the information at the front of the show or the information at the back of the show to reach out to me, and I can help. The next loan is the DC or DSCR loan. It is the debt service coverage ratio loan, and it's a popular loan that's used by real estate investors to buy or refinance rental properties. And instead of qualifying for the loan based on your personal income or W-2s, lenders qualify you based on whether the property's expected rental income can cover the monthly mortgage, taxes, and insurance, the PITI. And if it can, then chances are you will be able to get that loan. Then there's the USDA renovation loan. And a USDA renovation loan allows the buyer again to purchase a fixer-upper and finance both the home and the repair costs into a single 30-year fixed-rate mortgage with a 0 down payment. USDA offers both limited non-structural and full structural renovation options to help bring rural properties up to standard. Now, one of the things that I must say about USDA loans is you have to be careful with them because they are not offered everywhere. Like they stated, rural. They're looking to bring up rural properties up to standard. So you have to be in an area that has about 35,000 people or less for it to be considered rural. And there is a tool that you can use on USDA.gov that will allow you to check to make sure that the address that you're interested in purchasing is the address that is eligible to be used. Next, we have the VA renovations loans. Or VA rehab loans, which allow eligible veterans and service members to finance both a home purchase and necessary repairs into a single 0 down payment mortgage. Borrowers can borrow up to 100% of the loan's projected after renovation value without having to get private mortgage insurance. So that's something that we can talk about in detail in a different episode. But there's mortgage, there is private mortgage insurance, and there is mortgage insurance premium that is usually attached to FHA loans that sometimes borrowers have to pay. A private mortgage insurance is insurance that you can eventually get rid of. You usually have to get it down to you're on 80% of whatever you borrowed, and then they will remove that. But if you have an FHA loan and you're required to pay a mortgage insurance premium, usually that is going to be on the loan for the life of the loan. And so those are some things that you have to consider when determining, which loan to pick. Next, we have home renovation loans from THDA, which is THDA is the Tennessee Housing Development Agency, and they are a Tennessee specific program, and it's for current homeowners. And they work with other local agencies like the Housing Fund to offer repair loans of up to $35,000 for qualifying individuals. And then finally, I did want to talk about the Housing Fund, which is a nonprofit. It's like a CDFI, and they provide affordable loans to help homeowners modernize and refurbish their houses to maintain the value, add value, make the home safer, make it healthier, make it more accessible if you need that more accessibility for the physically challenged, and to just make it more comfortable for you to live in. And so all of these loan types are available. There's different qualifications and rules for each for you to qualify. Of course, each bank has different loan products that they offer. I happen to know lenders who offer each one of these loan types that I've described to you. So I do want to stress the fact that if you are actually seriously considering looking at one of these to purchase a new home or to renovate an existing home that you have, I just ask a few questions, and then I can put you in contact with someone who can help you to determine what the best loan type for your situation would be. Broker, and I do not move in the way of telling someone what specific loan product would be best for them. But because I work in the real estate industry, and I do have to help steer people in the right direction. I make it my business to understand the different loan types that are available and to understand, where my clients can go and receive information and programs. And so, I do strongly encourage people to keep an eye out for what's happening with these data centers. It is going to have a profound effect on our entire community, and it's going to spread out to the suburbs, Bartlett, Germantown, Collierville, Fisherville, all those places, Millington. If we are not vigilant about how we allow our local and state officials to sell our resources or to offer our resources to other to entities, outside entities that are coming here to grow and expand their businesses. And we really, really, really need to be focused on voting out people who do not have the best interests of the people as a whole at heart. I can honestly say that I am utterly disappointed in the lack of information that our local city mayor was able to provide me as it relates to this watering crisis. And I was actually happy to hear that our county mayor, Mr. Lee Harris, was dead set against this entire plan from its inception. When we allow our closed doors and we don't call them to the carpet for such things, especially when they're going to wind up having a negative effect on us as a community and as individuals, then we have given up our freedom to be in control of our government, to, the people who are coming here and, looking to just make their pockets fatter. We should not be celebrating any type of technology, no matter how easy it's going to make our lives. And so with that being said, I'd like to thank you so much for joining me. Remember, you can go to colorofchange.org, or you can go to younggiftedandgreen.org to get the information that I just shared today regarding the aquifers. And if you have information or have questions about the different loan types, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to help. Until next time, take care of yourselves and stay safe out there. Bye.